السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر ومما يعرشون ثم كلي من كل الثمرات فاسلكي سبل ربك ذللا يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف ألوانه فيه شفاء للناس إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يتفكرون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر ومما يعرشون ثم كلي من كل الثمرات فاسلكي سبل ربك ذللا يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف ألوانه فيه شفاء للناس إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يتفكرون والله خلقكم ثم يتوفاكم ومنكم من يرد إلى أرذل العمر لكي لا يعلم بعد علم شيئا إن الله عليم قدير. ومنكم من يرد إلى أرذل العمر لكي لا يعلم بعد علم شيئا إن الله عليم قدير. والله فضل بعضكم على بعض والله فضل بعضكم على بعض في الرزق فما الذين فضلوا براد رزقهم على ما ملكت أيمانهم فهم فيه سواء أفبنعمة الله يجحدون الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد صدق الله العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair, Qari Muawiyah, for the wonderful recitation, inshallah. So we're having some technical difficulties with our projector. Dr. Farhat, inshallah, will just do the talk. So you'll just have to be more engaging and listening. For the sisters, you can turn off the light and the sisters can come up, inshallah, in the men's section. And we will begin in about 2 minutes, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. So, welcome brothers and sisters. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Alhamdulillah, we were able to resolve it through my phone. We did the eye projection right now. So, inshallah, I'll be talking about the honeybees and the honey itself. So, this is our QR code for UTSA Honey Pathway. I'm sorry the projection is not the best in the mode, but I'll try to explain as best as possible. So, inshallah, I'll be talking about healing for humankind. So, as Imam Sheikh Muawiyah has read in the Quran, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Surah An-Nahl, this word, healing for humankind. What is the Arabic of it? What is the Arabic of healing for humankind? Shifa'un linnasi. So, shifa'un linnasi. Honey is considered in the Quran, shifa'un linnasi. So, it's a healing for humankind. And honey is the only food in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala represents or mentions as a shifa. So, as a healing for humankind. Yes, in the Quran we have zaytun and we have teen and we have rumman, we have the dates and the pomegranates, olives, but none of them is considered as a shifa. Only honey, the different colors of fluid within the bellies of the honeybees, only that one is considered as the shifa in the Quran Karim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares honey as a shifa. So that's why it is one of the most important, we can say it is the most important food product for human life for thousands of years. And inshallah we're going to talk about this throughout this one. So first of all, I'd like to clarify, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a science doctor. I'm an associate professor at UTSA. I'm teaching biology, and I'm also teaching medicinal honey as a class. So anything that you have on this project, on this presentation, please don't take this as direct medical advice. Always consult with your physician, healthcare physician or professional before you apply these things. Or you can do it by yourself. But I will share with you evidence-based scientific facts about the use of honey for medical purposes, and it is up to you to use it in the way that you would like to use. So, as we read as Sheikh Muawiyah has read at the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and your Lord inspired the bees, make your homes in the mountains, the trees and what the people construct, like human inhabitations, and feed from the flower of any fruit that you please, and follow the ways your Lord had made easy for you. And then next ayah, from their bellies comes forth liquid of varying colors, which is honey with different colors, in which there is healing for humankind. And surely in this is a sign for those who reflect. Again, I can talk only about this ayah for about 1 hour, inshallah. But we have lots of things, and next slides will show those as well. But this ayah, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions from time to time, أَفَلَا تَتَذَكِّرُونَ أَفَلَا تَفَكِّرُونَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Don't you think, don't you ponder upon, don't you think about these things. So don't you contemplate upon it. But in this one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, surely in this is a sign for those who reflect. As the mu'mins, as the believers, it is our duty, it is our job to reflect upon these ayats. So these two ayats in the Quran, Nahl 67 and 69, so 68 and 69, these two ayats, وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ لَلنَّخْلِ تَخْذِ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا وَمِنَ الشَّجَرِ وَمِمَّا يَعْرِشُونَ. So this ayat and the next one, so these are the ones that we really need to ponder upon them. We need to contemplate upon them. And there are some scientists in the past and even now who has devoted their life to understand or to research just these two ayats. Again, these two ayats will give thought to a teacher, to a professor, to a scientist, at the same time to an engineer, at the same time to an architect, at the same time to an economist or statistician. All of them can find something from these two ayats. You will see that as we go through about the life of the bees and the honeybees, and then as we learn about the healing power of the honey, you will see that everybody can find, like from different perspectives, from different professions in the life, they will be able to find something that they can ponder upon. That's why this says, surely there is a sign for those who reflect upon these ayats. So inshallah, we're going to do some reflections today, a little bit. And you can reflect more based on what you study, and then you'll be able to get those. So first of all, honeybees has been declared back in early 2000s, and since then, honeybees are the most important organism for human life on Earth. I will repeat it. Honeybees are the most important organism on Earth for a sustainable human life. What does this mean? If there are no honeybees, human life is not sustainable. If we lose the honeybees, if the honeybees go extinct, human life will not be sustainable. Maybe it is the day, it is the Qiyamah. Because if you look at this image, we are losing about more than 70% of our food without honeybees. We're going to lose all the fruit that we eat, like watermelon, or the berries, or almonds, or even like coffee and tea that we drink. Without honeybees, we are losing them because they need pollination. And in addition to this one, the clothes that you are wearing right now, most of you are wearing cotton, or even your, the pants or so. If we don't have honeybees, we don't have cotton either, because cotton is pollinated by honeybees as well. We're going to wear plastic if we don't have honeybees. So this is how important the honeybees are. 80%, up to 80% of the food that we eat, and the drinks that we have, like coffee and tea and other drinks, they are all here because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided the honeybee, inspired the honeybee to go and pollinate the plants. Honeybees are the #1 pollinator on Earth for the continuation of the plants. Look at all these crops pollinated by honeybees, like all the spices, and then the peach and the raspberry, watermelon, kiwi, blueberries, beans, tomatoes, pears, oranges, cherries, canola, alfalfa. Even the animals will not have food to eat. We're going to even lose the cows and sheep. You can't say, well, I'm going to eat meat if there is no fruit. But no, those animals need pollination. Those animals need some kind of plants to survive. Again, I will repeat it, and I believe you'll agree with this. Honeybees are the most important organism on Earth for a sustainable human life. So we have to appreciate their findings. But again, Allah has given one surah's name for the honeybee. And what is that surah? Surah An-Nahl. So Nahl means honeybee. So the whole chapter is given in the name of the honeybee. That's why it is a very, very important, it's the most important organism on Earth. And may Allah help us to appreciate this. Now, even the first part, like, وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّخْلِ. See, we talk about 10 minutes about only وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّخْلِ, and we still can talk about this. That's why we really need to ponder upon and contemplate, think about these two verses, and then you'll find something from your own life. And then if you go on, honeybees are a different organism than the other bees. Probably you might have seen hornets or wasps or other stingy animals. None of them are bees. Like none of these are considered as bees. The only one on the left is the honeybee. That's the Apis mellifera. Apis mellifera is a European honeybee, and only that bee on the left bottom corner, only that is the one that makes honey for human life. None of the other bees make honey for human consumption. Only the honeybee, the Apis mellifera, or the Nahl, is the one that makes for us. Bumblebee is also important for pollination, but they only make honey for themselves, for their own life. And again, there are more than 300 types of bees identified in our backyards. Like in the United States, we have more than 300 different bees. Like there is mason bee, there is leafcutter bee, there is wood-dwelling bees, there is soil-dwelling bees, but none of them are making honey. So only the Western honeybee or European honeybee is the one that can make honey for us. And that's the guy there. That's the girl there. I'm sorry, it's not a guy. So, and what are the important things about bees? So bees are a wax factory. So the one you see on the left side, it is the bees are making their own wax. They are not collecting with somewhere else. They secrete the wax from their wax glands. As you can see, there are 10 glands under their bellies. And from their bellies, they can secrete these wax, which is very malleable, like soft. And then they can convert it into honeycomb. So that is the other one. Another one is the bees have 5 eyes on them. 2 three compound eyes and through two other optical eyes. So they can see 360 degrees. They can see all around. So the bees can easily see all their audience. And the other thing is, bees can see polarized light and ultraviolet light. So we cannot see polarized light unless we wear the sunglasses. So bees have natural sunglasses. So they can see polarized light, so they can differentiate the color of the trees. And next time when you wear your sunglasses, if it is polarized, look at the flowers. You will see the difference in their color. It becomes very bright. Those red color, yellow colors, they become very bright when you have polarized eyeglasses, sunglasses on you. And bees always sees them like that. And bees can see ultraviolet that human eyes cannot see. The other one is they have a long tongue, which is called proboscis. This is the way that they're collecting the nectar from the trees, from the plants, blooms and flowers. And they can suck the nectar and they keep them in their crops. So crop means is the stomach of the honeybees. Another important organ is pollen pockets, or called corbicula. So you see the one on the center one. So in the back, in their hind legs, they have a very special structure. It looks like a comb. So when they collect the pollens, they just stick them all the way down, and they stuck it very well, even though they fly miles. Look at the size of the bee and think about flying a mile. It is for us like if you walk about maybe 50 miles. And these bees can fly that much without losing any single pollen. So they pack them very nicely in their corbicula, bring them into the hive, and then this is their protein source. So bees don't eat meat. Wasps, they eat meat, but honeybees are vegetarian. So they don't eat any meat, and pollen is their protein source. That's how they get their things. And then junk in the trach, which is the stinger. That's the very important organ, because bees only sting once in their life. Why? They can only sting once. They die. Because they have a stinger which is barbed, so once they sting into your skin, it cannot come out. So it's a one way. They sting it, and it stays there, and then when they try to fly, their abdomen is broken, so their muscles leave there. They keep pumping the venom to you, and then the whole body, without the bottom part, they start walking. They're gonna die within less than an hour. So that's why they only sting if they have to. So, how many of you think honeybees are aggressive? Do you think honeybees are aggressive? What is the other word for aggressive? For example, if you protect your home when a thief comes or burglar comes, are you aggressive? No, you are not aggressive. You are protective. Because when you see someone on your backyard who is trying to come into your house without any permission, and you're gonna protect your home. Bees are protective animals. They are not aggressive animals. And bees, or when you go to a picnic, if you see somebody coming to your table just to check what is there, and then goes away, will you attack that person? If you attack, then you're an aggressive. But if you don't, you're protective. If somebody tries, so the bees are the same. When you go to a picnic, when you have your soda there, they will come and they get some sugar from your soda or from your watermelon or your other things. Bees are not there to sting you. Let's say if there are 500 bees in this masjid right now, none of them will come to sting you, because they are looking only for water and nectar. They are looking for food. Their whole purpose is to get some food back home. That's it. They're going to get some food and they go back to the hive and they're just going to enjoy it or make their honey out of those. So they are not there to attack you. That's why if you don't mess with the bees, if you're not a threat for them, they will not sting you. What is a threat? How do you make a threat for the bees? Yes. If you hit them, if you do like this, or if you like this, bees will get scared, as you guys got scared. Bees will get scared when you scream. Because they are very sensitive, their ears are very sensitive. They cannot hear very well, but when you scream, they will hear it. And then when you do long moving, it is a vibration and it's a sound. If you do long moving close to the bees, they will come and protect themselves and they may sting you. So be careful, don't be a threat to them, and they will leave them alone, they will leave you alone. So my daughter, I mean Ella, she still can pet the bees. When the bees come to our table, she just pets them. Yes, you are Ella. Okay. So, anyways, at the end, bees are not there to sting you. But other thing is, what happens if you got accidentally stung? How can you, treat it? Okay. The very old way is you get some water, put on the dirt, and then get some mud. So put the mud where you got stung. First you need to remove the stinger and put the mud where you got stung, and it has anti-inflammatory properties. Like there are some fungi and some other organisms in the soil. They will initiate their anti-inflammatory things, and you get little bit, swelling, but it will not be that itchy. And your swelling and your reaction will be much less. So mud, like local mud from the dirt, it is a very good method to prevent or to treat the bee stings at the first time, before you get your Benadryl or other drugs. And bees, they are very good pilots. They can spin their wings for 200 times per minute. It's per second, but it should be per minute. So they can beat their wings 200 times per minute. So like 200 RPM. It's a pretty fast for their size, and they can spin their wings as they fly, and also they dry the things. And in a high season, a worker bee lives about 6 weeks only. Like the worker bees, the female bees, they live 6 weeks only in their life, and only 3 weeks they are outside of their hive, foraging. Other 3 weeks they are inside the hive. And those 3 weeks, they can fly in a distance around the world 1.5 times. They can go around the world 1.5 times in 3 weeks of their lifetime. They can go, like the honeybees can go up to 5 miles a day. So they can go 5 miles out and 10 miles a day. They can go 5 miles out and they can come back 5 miles back to their hives. So with their small bodies, they are very, hardworking, and their body is made in a way that they can fly long distances without any problems. And what do we have in the honeybee hive? We have 3 types of bees. We have a cust, it's called a cust. So the cust is 3 of them. So one of them is the worker bee, which is the female bees. And then the other one is drone, which is on the very right side, which is the chubby one, which is male. And we have the queen, which is the laying mother. Okay, here's the question. Ella is not here, she knows the answer. Okay, so what is the percentage of worker bees, like female bees inside the hive? How many of them do you think they are worker bees? Girls. How many of the bees are girls in the hive? Did you watch the bee movie? The kids? Okay. What is the most important error in that bee movie? They talk. Forget about this. What is next? They are living in a beehive, yes, but the shape? That's okay. That's another wrong thing, but what is the most important error in that bee animation? They show them as male, yes. The bees which go and collect the nectar and the pollen, they are males. But what is the percentage of females in the hive? It's 99% of the bees are girls. 99% of the bees are girls, only 1% are boys, which is the drone. Like the drone that you fly, that's the drone, that's the chubby one. And then these are the babies, you can see them. So the bees are like butterflies. They start life as an egg, then they become a larva, which look like the caterpillar, you can say, and they become a pupa, and they become adult bee. So egg, larva, pupa, and adult bee, I mean the new bees. So they go through this life cycle in 20 days or 21 days. And the queens are much faster. So the drone bees, okay, I'll go about, okay, how do you find the queen? So can you spot the queen on this image? I know it's a little bit distant, but can you tell me where it is? Like tell me the location, like north, south, west, east, northwest, north. Anybody sees the queen here? Here's the queen. Seriously, here she is. Right here. The long one there. So you can see from here, the queen is look like a long one. So queen is misunderstood that she is not the king or she is not the president of the hive. So bees are called a superorganism. Superorganism means, like similar to us, we have so many cells and tissues in our body, right? But we cannot live by, they cannot live by themselves. We are a body. Or you can also remember the hadith that Rasulullah mentions, the mu'mins, the believers are like a body, and once one part of the body hurts, the other parts also feel it. So bees are like that. So if there's a problem in one part of the hive, the other parts of the hive is also have a problem. So, and this is called a superorganism. They act for the goodness of the hive. They act for the benefit of the hive. So this is how the bees are. They are very social animals. Like nobody is working for themselves. Like none of the bees go out and collect nectar just to feed themselves. They always go and collect nectar or water or propolis and for the whole hive. The same thing for the queen. Queen cannot live by herself. So if you leave the queen out of the hive, or if you put the queen in a hive by herself, she will die in a day. Why? Like, do you think this queen knows how to make omelette or pasta? I don't think she does. Maybe she did. But the queen cannot feed herself. Queen cannot groom herself. The queen cannot, take care of, clean herself. She has attendants, and attendant bees are the ones that are helping the queen. And the queen depends on the other bees. So if that's a president, she should be able to survive by herself, but she is not. So she depends on the other bees. So bees act all together, like they have a common sense, a common psychology, and they have a full democracy, by the way. So honeybees live in full democracy. Everybody has a right. The queen is not a decision maker. And the bees can decide to kill the queen or to let the queen go. Other bees can, if the bee queen is not laying eggs properly, or if she's not doing well, she's getting old, the other bees decide to make a new queen and they kick out the old queen from the hive. So it's not a coup, it is just democracy. So the bees live in a fulfilled democracies. Anyway, what kind of roles do we have? So drones, they have only one job in their life. What is the job of the drone? What is the function of the drone? You may remember from previous years. No, drones don't protect. They are males, but they are not protect. And they are chubby, they are like couch potatoes. They just sit down in the hive and eat and enjoy their life. They have only one job. Reproduction. They mate another queen. They cannot mate their own mother. They need to go out, mate another queen, and die. Because once the drone mates a queen, the drone's organ falls apart, and then the drone falls on the ground and die. This is an honorable death, because they fulfill their mission. If they cannot do this, like for example, we are in September, in October, so the other worker bees, they will kick them out. The drones will be kicked out from the hive, because they are they are chubby, they eat a lot. So they are not welcome in the honey in the winter. So they are not welcome in the hive in the winter. So that's the job of the drone. But the workers, they are foragers. They go and collect nectar, water, propolis. They are nurses. Nurse bees, they take care of the baby bees. And every baby bee, as soon as they are born, they are cleaners. Because when you wake up from your bed in the morning, what do? You fix your bed, right? The bees do the same thing. When they are emerged from their cell, they're going to eat their cells around, and then they will clean it up and make it ready for the next baby. And then they will start nursing. They're going to start feeding other bees, baby bees. And then after that, they become, cleaners. They take care of the cleaning inside the hive. The hives are very clean environments. They are very sterile. And because of this reason, there is no infection can happen in the infections cannot survive inside the hives unless there is a serious disease. And again, there are some of the bees that are AC technicians. They are HVAC technicians. How do they do that? Or let me ask another question. Do you think the bees have the same temperature throughout the year in their hives? Do the bees have the same temperature throughout the year? No, yes, it changes from winter to summer? No. They have the same temperature inside the hive, even they live in Alaska, or they live in the desert, or they live in Texas. They always have the same temperature between 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. How do they keep this? We have ACs, and if our AC fails, we just start sweating and calling all around the people. We start a fan. Bees don't need it. Or in winter, we turn on the heater. But how do the bees heat themselves? How do they cool themselves? They have a very strong organ. What is that organ? Their wings. Their wings can go two directions, like clockwise and counterclockwise. They can heat up the hive. They can dehumidify, like they can evaporate the water from the hive, moisture from the hive, and they can also cool the hive with their wings, spinning them 200 times per minute. So and they can keep the same temperature. And bees are very resilient. They can live in the Alaska. They can live almost in the poles. And there are bees that they can live in the desert. So honeybees can adapt to different life cycles. So do you know how long the honeybees are on Earth? Like, how many years do you think the honeybees are living on this Earth? Tell me some numbers, ladies, sisters. 1,000 years. Any other numbers going up? Billion. The Earth life is only 4 billion. Don't go that far. But there are 103 million years. So bees are out there 103 million years. And do you remember when the dinosaurs got extinct? 65 million years ago. So bees have seen the dinosaurs. So bees are out in this world as the same honeybee for 103 million years. They went through all different catastrophes. They went through all these different colds and hots and everything, the meteors, and they survived. Because Allah has guided them. Allah has inspired them. And the bees are always protected. Anyway, I'll move on. So what do the bees collect? They collect nectar, like from the flowers and from the trees, and also excretion of some of the bugs. They collect pollen as their nectar as their protein source. Bees need water, to survive, and as well as to keep the temperature inside the hive. And they also collect resin to make propolis. So propolis is basically what you put on your windows. You put some kind of silicone or paste to keep the temperature inside. Bees do the same thing. They fill the cracks and crevices of the hive with propolis. So, and they just, again, manufacture them by collecting the resin from the plants. And they also have pollen. So this is, the one on the right is honey, which is the white is sealed, and we also have nectar, which is hard to see. But what about the one on the left? What is the thing on the left? Like those colorful stuff. It's a honeycomb, but yeah, it's overall honeycomb, but what is in it? Sorry? Not larva, these not baby bees. Nectar is on the right side, on the open ones. Come on, we said that. What do bees collect? Pollen, yes. But the bees are, again, very smart organisms. They don't eat the pollen as is. They ferment it. Like, as we make bread out of flour, they make bee bread out of pollen. So they have some fungi living in their stomach. So when they collect the pollen, they put them into the container, into the cells, and they chew it. When they chew it, they add the fungus, and this fungus will ferment the pollen, and it becomes bee bread. And they get one piece of bee bread, dip into the honey, and eat it like that. As you eat the honey, you put your honey on the bread in the morning, they do the same thing. They got the bee the bee bread, dip it into the honey, and eat it. This is how they eat their food. And this is a full comb of honey, and it is sealed with white, because white means it is wax, and it is completely sealed, and it is ready to be collected. Now I'm moving up to the honey. Okay, we have about 15 minutes, and inshallah, I will cover all these 50 slides. No, I don't have 50. I do have about 60 slides, but I'll do my best. So, normally most of us think that honey is just sugar, right? Honey is like a sweetener. It's a sweet substance, and we think that honey has lots of sugar in it. Yes, that is true. So do you know what is the percentage of sugar inside the honey? Or if you want to make fake honey, how much sugar you need to put for 1 liter? What is the percentage of sugar inside the honey? Guess. 50, 40? It is 76%. So honey is 76% sugar. It is a very, viscous material. It's very hard to flow. It's very hard to fill. Although it is 76% sugar, there are so many other things inside the honey. And all these things are coming from the plants that the bees are visiting. So the sugar inside the honey is not the table sugar, the white sugar. It is the sugar, glucose and fructose. So glucose and fructose, the bees collect the sucrose as the nectar, and sucrose is a disaccharide, and this one needs to be converted into fructose and glucose. So the bees, I will show it in the next image. So the bees go in and collect the nectar, and they convert it to fructose and glucose, and about 76% of the honey becomes sugars. And this can be monosaccharides, disaccharides, and trisaccharides. So there are at least 13 different types of sugars inside the honey. But other than that, there are vitamins and minerals inside the honey coming from the soil or from the plants where it is planted, and from the soil of the plant. And there are also some enzymes, live enzymes inside the honey, which are coming from the bees. And that's why we should not heat the honey. What happens when you heat the honey, or what happens when you add hot water, or hot coffee, or hot tea on top of the honey? Remember your biology. What happens when you heat the honey, or when you add hot water into the honey? Or when you add honey into hot water? They got enzymes. Enzymes get denatured because enzymes are proteins. And proteins, they lose their structure when they are added into hot drinks. So that's why I know some of you guys love to add the honey into your coffee or tea or hot water, but you are killing the enzymes inside it. So I also enjoy drinking warm honey drink. How are we going to add them? So remember, we also have enzymes in our body, like in our cells. So if your mouth can resist the temperature, honey can resist the temperature as well. Which means that if your tea or coffee or water is a drinkable temperature, then you can add honey into it. But don't add honey to very hot temperatures, like very hot coffee or tea. So it is about like 55 degrees. That's the maximum, because this is the temperature that you can drink something. So don't add honey into very hot drinks, but warmer ones, because we need those enzymes. Those enzymes are part of the medicinal properties of the honey. And other than that, these are some other chemicals inside the honey. There are tannins, phenolic acids, and flavonoids. Again, tannins, flavonoids, and phenolic acids. So these are the chemicals that are making honey as a medicine. Because these medicinal products are coming from the plants that the bees are collecting nectar from. So phenolic acids and flavonoids, they are well known for their antioxidant properties and antimicrobial properties. So as you may know, more than 60% of the drugs that are in the market right now, I think we have medical doctors here. So more than 60% of the drugs in the medical market are coming from the plants. Where are the bees are getting their nectar from? From the plants. So which means that bees are like pharmacists. They are pharmaceutical technicians. They go or professionals. They go and collect all these chemicals from the plants, and they put them into the honey. This is good for their health. It's good for our health as well. So phenolic acids, flavonoids, and tannins, these are the molecules very abundant inside the honey. It's only 0.5%, but these are the ones that makes honey a medicine. And we know that not every honey is created equal. So every honey from every hive is different. So although when you go to a grocery store and buy honey, they all look like the same. But if you go to the local beekeepers, their honeys will not be the same. Although you put one hive here, one hive there, like in the same backyard, even neighbor hives, they will not have the same honey. Because honeybees will go to different locations for foraging. Some of them will go north, other ones will go south, other ones will go west. They're going to collect the nectar, they bring them to their home, and they make honey out of it. So that's why honeys are not equal. That's why we need to find which is the medical grade honey. And honey can be very different colors, as you can see here. And these are the Texas honeys on the right side. in Texas, from local beekeepers, you can find all different colors of honey. So from farmers market as well. So honey can be water white, which is like almost water, like look like it, very transparent, or it can be all the way to dark amber, which is almost black honey. And there are honeys like that, which is like oak honey, buckwheat honey, sputterland honey. These are or chestnut honey. These are dark color honeys. I'll move on. And for honeybees, we talk about them. We really need to appreciate them. We need to acknowledge them. Because honeybees, for their whole life, 6 weeks of life, how much honey do they make? Only 1/12 of a teaspoon. 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey for their whole lifetime. Think about this. We are all working, right? We are all making savings for ourselves, for our children. And then you make all your savings, you work hard for your life, and then somebody comes and get all of your life saving with 1 teaspoon. That's over. This is what we are doing when we are eating honey. We are eating the whole lifetime work of 12 honeybees when you eat 1 teaspoon of honey. We have to be thankful. We have to be grateful for this. We have to say Alhamdulillah, because this is a lot of work by the honeybees. And for 1 pound of honey, they fly 50,000 miles to make only 1 pound of honey. And it's about 2 million blossoms they visit to get that much of honey. So, how do honeybees make honey? Basically, honey is bees' vomit. When you eat honey, you are eating bees' vomit. You like it? Everybody loves honey, come on. Right? Yes, basically bees, this is what they are doing. So they have nectar. They carry their nectar in their nectar crop, but this is not their stomach. This is not the digestive stomach. This is a stomach, this is a storage stomach. It's called crop. So in this crop, they carry the nectar. When they come to the hive, they regurgitate, like they transfer from one mouth to the other, and then they continue to convert this nectar into honey, because converting nectar, which is 100% sugar, to 100% sucrose, into 76% glucose and fructose is not easy. It's a long process. And one bee comes, regurgitate the other one. Is it over? No. This bee will regurgitate the other one, other one, other one. It took 200 bees to convert 1 drop of honey into 1 drop of nectar into honey. 200 bees process. This much of enzyme they need, this much of process they need. And at the end, they put into the comb, and it is 80% water at that time. But honey is not 80% water, it is very viscous. It is 18% water. So how do they remove this water? How do the bees demoisturize or remove the moisture from the honey, from the nectar? Their one special power, remember which one? Their wings. They spin their wings and they evaporate the water from 80% to 18%. And then it becomes honey. When it is 18%, they seal it. And this honey is sterile. And this honey doesn't spoil. For how long? What's the shelf life of the honey? Lifetime. Honey does not spoil. They found 3,000 years old honey in the King Tutankhamun's, like one of the pharaohs, in King Tutankhamun's pyramid, in his tomb, which is 3,000 years old and still edible. Because once honey is sealed, no bacteria can live in it, no fungus can live in it, no viruses can reproduce in it. So it will not decompose. Honey will not decompose naturally. So when it is sealed, honey is good forever. So no other food products like this on earth. Honey is a very special food product, and Allah has provided to us. So there are different types of honeys, like blossom honey and honeydew honey. Blossom honey is coming from the flowers. Honeydew is coming from the plant, the trees, leaves, or these are the excretions of some of the bugs. You know, there are aphids, which are bugs, or lanternflies, which make light. You know, lanternflies. So what they do is they go and eat the sap of they have a strong tongue. They can drill into the tree and they eat the sap. It is very sugary because tree sap is very sugary. And they got all of it, but they cannot digest all of it. They excrete them. Sorry, we are in the mess. I'm going to use what P word, but they excrete them. And then this excretion is white, fluffy substance, very sugary. Bees go, collect this sugar substance and make it honey. out of it. Look, honeybees, honey itself is bee's vomit, right? And now, this honey is another bug's excretion, feces. How disgusting, but how sweet it is, right? Alhamdulillah. Yes, when it becomes honey, it is sterile, it is all good. Anyway, these are different type of honey. I know it's hard to read, but there are more than 100 different type of honeys available on the markets. On the market, but this is the list. I'm not going to go through that one because of the time, but I'm going to talk about honey as a medicine. Okay, probably heard it before, but I will repeat it. Every civilization on earth, starting from the first human settlements, every civilization on earth, or a civilization on earth, they used honey for healing purposes, for medicinal purposes. Romans, Greeks, Indians, Chinese, Arabs, Persians, Turks, Aztecs, Mayans, Africans, Americans, they all used honey for healing purposes. That's why honey is shifa'un linnasi. It's a healing for humankind. All the human beings on earth, different civilizations, they use honey for medical purposes. So honey is a universal medicine. And how I started working about honey, about 12 years ago, I was studying wound healing, the mechanism of wound healing, the biological mechanisms of it, and I found out honey is the ultimate wound healer for thousands of years. So honey has been used for all these different diseases, and I'm not going to go through the list, but if you're interested, I'll be happy to share my slides. But look at this. Honey is #1 wound healing agent for thousands of years, and we rediscovered honey in 1990s again. So honey was put aside in the early 20th century because of after the advent of antibiotics. And there's not very good representation of honey at that time. But 1990s, they rediscovered honey as a remedy. And alhamdulillah, since then, honey has been studied for hundreds or even thousands of scientists in the world. And again, there are so many wound healing dressings by using honey. Other one is honey is very strong antimicrobial. As I said, honey doesn't allow any bacteria to grow. Honey is a very strong antibacterial. There are more than 200 different pathogenic bacteria which causes disease in human. More than 200 pathogenic bacteria were used against honey, or honey used against them. None of them were able to create resistance to honey. None of those bacteria survived after honey is applied to them for some time. So no resistance, no antimicrobial resistance recorded against honey yet. We know, we have medical doctors here. Antimicrobial resistance is a problem right now in the world because the antibiotics that we have, eventually bacteria will gain resistance to the antibiotics, but not to the honey. And again, there are several articles I will be happy to share if you're interested. Honey is antioxidant. Honey helps our cells to keep young because free radicals, they cause disease on us, like neurological disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer. These are all caused because of oxidative stress in our cells, even the Alzheimer's. So this oxidative stress causes our cells to get older very quickly. Antioxidants help us to prevent from these. So honey is very strong in antioxidants. Remember phenolic acids? So there are lots of phenolic acid in the honey, and honey can prevent the formation of these diseases, or even for the treatment. Honey is anti-inflammatory, especially for wound healing. Honey can help or regulate the inflammation in the area and can help us. And something interesting, honey is anti-diabetic. Yeah, I know we have diabetic people here or doctors, but honey is one of the low glycemic index foods. Not all the honeys, by the way. So most of the honeys, like especially dark color honeys, again, dark color honeys are mostly low glycemic index, which means that the diabetic patients can replace the sugar or other carbohydrates with honey, and their blood glucose level will not spike like with the sugar does. So again, I'm not telling every honey is low glycemic index, which means that not every honey is safe for the diabetic patients. But low glycemic index honeys, and these are mostly dark color honeys, are safe and can be used or can be replaced after you consult with your dietitian or physician. You can replace them with the sugars that you have. And honey is great for our gastrointestinal system. If you have diarrhea or constipation, you can use honey for both. They're opposite of each other, but the key is the temperature. For constipation, you need to use warm honey drink. For diarrhea, you need to drink cold honey. So warm honey will help your bowels to get loose and relieve the constipation. Cold honey drink will absorb water from your bowels, will help yourself to absorb more water, and it will treat the diarrhea. If you have ulcer, like Helicobacter pylori in your stomach, when you eat honey into the empty stomach in the morning, honey is an antibacterial, remember? And honey can kill Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria that causes ulcer in our stomachs. So honey can help several other gastrointestinal disease. And yeah, I think that's, as an antibacterial, I went through it. Okay, sorry. And wound healing, do we have time or it's time for Isha? One question or 1 minute? It is still safer. It is still safer than fake honeys. Okay, I will tell you one thing before, there are very key points I would like to go through. Number one, you'll be surprised with this, but according to the studies in Europe and other parts, 1/3, which is 30%, 33%, all the honeys sold in the grocery stores are not honey. 33% of the honeys sold in grocery stores are not pure honey. They are blended, they are adulterated. But we don't know, as a consumer, you cannot differentiate fake honey from the real honey. In a study in Europe about like 2019 or 2020, they checked the grocery store honeys. 46% of the grocery store honeys in United Kingdom and France, 46%, about half of the honeys are not honey. They are blended or adulterated. They blended with glucose syrup, fructose syrup, agave syrup, or cane syrups. Unfortunately, because they are about 3 times less expensive than the honeys. And when you mix them, you as a consumer, you cannot differentiate them. That's why I highly recommend you guys find a local beekeeper and buy your honey from local beekeepers. They are more reliable, even though they feed them with sugar. Because even if it is sugar, honeybees can convert it into glucose and fructose. So honeybees are able to convert it, and it is still honey. But the other ones, which are blended with other things, like other sugars, they are not honeys. So, and how are you going to find them? You need to go to realtexashoney.com. realtexashoney.com, you can easily remember it. That's the website that you can find local beekeepers. If not, I'll be happy to help you, inshallah, for those. Okay, again, I have so many other slides, but it's time for Isha, and I would like to repeat some of the things. Honeybees are the most important organisms on earth for sustainable human life. We have to appreciate honeybees. Without honeybees, our life will be very miserable. No fruits, no tea, no coffee, no cotton. And then honey is a medicine that has been used for every civilization on earth for thousands of years. And honey is a medicine more than a food. And honey is a healing for humankind. Shifa'un linnasi. May Allah help us to understand His message to us. Remember those 2 ayahs that we read at the beginning? Allah says at the end, there is a sign for the people who ponder upon this. May Allah help us to understand those signs that He is giving for us. Thank you very much. And if you want, you can fill out a survey from this link.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
حقا لا إله إلا الله استقيموا واعتدلوا وتراصوا الله أكبر سبحانك الله تعالى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة فإن أمن بعضكم بعضا فليؤدي الذي ائتمن أمانته وليتق الله ربه ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سبحان ربي الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. آمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الله أكبر. الله أكبر. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي الله أكبر. الله أكبر. تحيات لله والصلوات السلام عليه النبي ورحمة الله والسلام علينا وعلى عباد أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله على محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد حمدا كثيرا الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم. سبحان ربي العظيم. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. سمع الله لمن حمده. ربنا ولك الحمد حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. رب اغفر لي وارحمنا وعافنا واهدنا وارزقنا. الله أكبر. اللهم فرج كرب المسلمين واحقن دماء المسلمين. الله أكبر. تحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. حسبنا الله وسيهدينا الله من فضله. ربي إني لما أنزلتني من خير واحفظني من عذاب جهنم من عذاب القبر من فتنة المحيا ومن شر فتنة المحيا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت وتعالى.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just wanted to thank Dr. Farhat for coming and sharing with us some very useful and very beneficial knowledge. Inshallah, we will have food today outside for the men's at the gazebo, men's gazebo and women's gazebo. Also, we did promise to give you a sample of honey. So inshallah, when you go outside, we'll be passing the honey sticks. So at least you can have a sample. And if you do want real honey, then you can ask Dr. Farhat, and he will inshallah let you know where you can go to get local honey. As he has mentioned, that is the best inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.